Joshua's.
Said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Is he?
Oh man, you look at Anthony Joshua. He looks like a superhero.
Eddie Hearn responding to this just confirms that this fight could actually happen.
In a recent episode of his podcast, Joe Rogan humorously speculated about Jake Paul's potential fight against Anthony Joshua, set for 2026. Rogan jokingly suggested that Paul's decision to delay the match might be a strategic move to give himself enough time to enhance his physique, possibly with the aid of performance-enhancing substances, before stepping into the ring against the former heavyweight champion. The remark, though made in jest, reflects the skepticism many have about Paul's ability to compete with an elite fighter like Joshua.
That Dubois guy, though, holy man. The way he took out Anthony Joshua.
No.
Yeah. Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now?
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's.
Said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Well, they're like, what about now?
Yeah.
They're like, what about fight
Do it
him now?
now.
He's like, no, I want to wait till 2026. Like, okay.
To put on weight.
Put all the steroids. Every steroid they have.
I would watch.
Snake
Here's
venom,
the thing. I would
scorpion
watch
venom.
it.
Oh, by the way,
Scorpion venom.
Rollo reached out to me, John Rollo, my boy, and he sells this blue scorpion shit. He wants to get you some, Gordon.
Awesome.
All right, I'll have him send you some.
Get on
I'll
the
I think
take some
quadruple
too.
this is like.
Yeah,
We'll see
do
what
it.
happens. I'm gonna start slow. I'm gonna find out if I get poisoned.
Yeah, just
What the f- are we doing? We're drinking venom from scorpion.
it is weird.
That's weird. He's got the dopest tattoos.
Joe Rogan has long admired Anthony Joshua's physical attributes, frequently praising his impressive strength and chiseled physique. In a recent discussion, Rogan went as far as to say that Joshua looks like a real-life superhero due to his muscular build and sheer power inside the ring. Joshua's dedication to training, disciplined approach to the sport, and exceptional athleticism set him apart from many of his competitors. His dominance in the heavyweight division has solidified his reputation as one of the most respected and formidable boxers in the world today.
Like boxers today, if you look at like Anthony Joshua, who's the heavyweight champion of the world now.
Is
you
he?
look at him, yeah, he's a English fellow. He's a tank. I mean, he's a.
Is he?
Oh man, you look at Anthony Joshua. He looks like a superhero.
Do those guys have as much stamina as these guys do, though?
Oh yeah, they do
Oh, they
today.
did?
Yeah, because the conditioning methods that they have today are just so superior. They understand rest and recovery, and they monitor
see.
your heart rate, and you know they're monitoring lactic acid buildup and.
Jake Paul has built a reputation by challenging legendary fighters in the boxing world. But what if he decided to take his skills to the world of mixed martial arts, MMA? His high-profile bouts against former champions have already drawn significant attention, but stepping into an MMA cage would present a completely different level of challenge. Some fans have even speculated that Paul might eventually call out Joe Rogan himself, a move that would certainly generate headlines. However, the transition from boxing to MMA is no easy feat, and it remains to be seen whether Paul is willing to take that leap.
Now that things didn't work out in boxing for Jake Paul, who's he going to fight in MMA?
If he fought Joe Rogan, that'd be the greatest selling fight of all time.
Joe Rogan?
And that'd be a good fight. I think Rogan would beat him.
That's insane. You're crazy.
In MMA? Have you seen Joe's kicks?
Joe,
Bam! One to Jake's face, he's dead.
I've seen the spinning kicks, but Joe's like 70 years old now. He's like 3 feet shorter than Jake Paul. He's a blob.
One DMT trip right beforehand, he'll see every punch Jake's gonna throw.
No matter how many cold plunges or sauna trips Joe takes, he won't be prepared for a fight.
Jake Paul has carefully crafted a strategy of calling out legendary fighters, ensuring that he remains at the center of attention in combat sports. By constantly issuing bold challenges and engaging in high-profile feuds, he keeps himself relevant in the boxing world, even when he's not actively fighting. This approach has helped him build an enormous following, but it has also led to criticism that he is more focused on entertainment than genuine competition.
I'd love that.
Well, it'd be cool just to be like, why does it have to be like, hey, I need to beat you at MMA? You are a kickboxer.
Right.
You are an MMA fighter. It's two different sports.
Right.
It's like-
Yeah, but it's like exciting to see. Like, let's see what happens. See if he could survive the first round in just pure Muay Thai. No takedowns.
No, I think that clown show is that Jake Paul match. shit.
What are they doing?
Is he still fighting AD? Is that still going on?
Oh, that one. Yeah, I thought because he's got a PFL contract as well,
does he?
right?
Joe Rogan has acknowledged Jake Paul's impressive knockout power, especially after Paul delivered a devastating one-punch knockout against a former UFC champion. Rogan noted that if Paul had entered the boxing world as a professional from the start, rather than transitioning from YouTube, his knockout victories would likely be taken far more seriously. Instead, his past as an internet personality has made many traditional boxing fans and analysts skeptical of his abilities. Despite this, Paul has continued to silence critics with decisive wins in the ring.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you're like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? If it wasn't that big YouTube star, and you just saw him as a boxing contender, you'd be like, that dude's got dynamite in his hands.
Boxing promoter Eddie Hearn has issued a strong warning to Jake Paul regarding his potential fight against Anthony Joshua. Hearn stated that if Paul is serious about stepping into the ring with the former heavyweight champion, he should consider getting insurance, implying that facing Joshua is an extremely dangerous move. Given Joshua's raw power, technical skill, and experience, the fight could pose a significant risk to Paul's career.
Eddie Hearn responding to Jake Paul's call out of Anthony Joshua by stating this. He states, Joshua would fight anyone anytime, but warn Paul about the risk. If Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. Let me counterpunch. Eddie Hearn responding to this just confirms that this fight could actually happen. Because, Eddie pretty much, calls the shots. He makes the play. Anthony Joshua's interested. Now Eddie Hearn is stating that he's interested. So that means, hey, why not wait? Why wait to 26? Why not this year in 25? And that means that he is very comfortable with putting Anthony Joshua in there with Jake Paul. And if I was Eddie Hearn, people, counterpunching this statement, I would too. Because this is, to me, again, like I've told you guys before, when Jake Paul called out Anthony Joshua, I think he overstepped himself.
Eddie Hearn has also questioned why Jake Paul is targeting 2026 for a fight with Anthony Joshua instead of stepping up this year. Hearn believes that if Paul is genuinely committed, there's no reason to delay the bout. His confidence in discussing the fight suggests that negotiations might already be underway. Both sides come to an agreement, fans could see the fight happen much sooner than expected.
And Eddie being that confident by responding the way he did, why wait to next year? Let's do it now, or let's do it this year. That says a lot, man. That is saying a lot about Eddie Hearn. The confidence is there. He wants that fight because Jake Paul is better than people think he is. But can he beat AJ? No. Because one shot from AJ would put Jake Paul on a stretcher, on the gurney. And Eddie, he saw that. He saw it just like I did. Just like I think you guys know. I think Jake Paul is calling him out because he needs another big fight. And calling out Anthony Joshua is a good way to do it. He promised Canelo Alvarez, I promise you, you're going to need me. I promise you, my fight is going to be bigger than yours. Well, who is on that level?
Shannon Sharp is among those who believe Jake Paul has no chance against Anthony Joshua. Sharp bluntly stated that Joshua is simply too big for Paul, making it clear that he thinks Paul is biting off more than he can chew. With Joshua's immense size, knockout power, and extensive experience, many believe this potential fight could end disastrously for Paul.
The elites. We talk about the elites at their craft. It's not going to happen. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jake fought the closest,
Tyson Fury, brother.
Tommy Paul, the closest person to actually,
Tommy Fury.
Tommy. If you want to challenge someone with the one loss you have. Take him out.
Despite the heavy criticism, legendary boxing trainer Teddy Atlas has given Jake Paul credit for his dedication to improving as a fighter. Atlas acknowledges that Paul is serious about training and competing at a high level, unlike many who dismiss him as just a social media personality. Having observed numerous fighters throughout his career, Atlas recognizes that Paul is putting in the necessary work, though he still has much to prove in the sport.
But listen, I don't want to mock it. I know you're going to take me there. I don't want to mock it because anyone gets in the ring, I ain't mocking him. I'm not. And I have a lot of respect for Jake Paul, what he's done, and the way he's done it. He's trained hard to become the best fighter he can be, and he's a work in progress, and he's still working. He's still trying to be better.
Jake Paul has made bold claims beyond Anthony Joshua. He has even suggested that he could defeat Canelo Alvarez. This statement has infuriated many boxing fans, as Canelo is widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Paul's confidence in calling out such an elite boxer has been met with both skepticism and amusement within the boxing community.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua exclusive because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass. I know I will
just got
beat.
knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin and he has no skill and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this. I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo.
Stop the tape now. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. The thing I respect about Jake Paul is his strategic selection of opponent. The retired NBA player, the mixed martial artist who does not specialize in striking, and a almost approaching 60-year-old Mike Tyson. But Anthony Joshua's skills are 1,000 light years ahead of Jake Paul's. Anthony Joshua, Mr. 28 wins, 25 knockouts, 4 losses. Anthony Joshua has been in the ring with real fighters. His resume speaks for itself. I just have one thing to say. Jake Paul, you can't play boxing. Trust me, just stay in your lane.
One of the biggest concerns regarding a potential fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is the significant weight difference between the two fighters. Paul reportedly weighed in at 200.2 pounds for his fight against Mike Tyson, whereas Joshua typically competes in the heavyweight division, weighing between 252 and 255 pounds. This weight disparity could give Joshua a major advantage in power and endurance, making the fight even more challenging for Paul.
The real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, "At Jake Paul is the truth." Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Raphael said the same thing earlier that day or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true or if that was really going to happen. Essentially, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?
Anthony Joshua has built his career by fighting some of the biggest names in boxing. Unlike Jake Paul, who is still relatively new to the sport, Joshua has gone to war against elite fighters and proven himself in the ring time and time again. Joe Rogan has discussed this difference, highlighting the vast gap in experience between the two. While Paul has made impressive strides, he has yet to face an opponent anywhere near Joshua's caliber.
Dubois coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27. That guy's fucking scary. He's dangerous. Going into that fight, it seems like he believed that he was just going to dominate him. He was so aggressive. He was just in the pocket constantly, just forcing Joshua to go to war. It was wild.
Everybody was like, look, to Joshua, I think you're done.
Right after he knocks out Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, you're back.
Yeah.
Flattened Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, oh, Joshua's back.
Jake Paul has faced criticism for carefully selecting his opponents, with many believing that he primarily fights aging or less capable fighters to maintain an impressive record. His recent bout against Mike Tyson, who was 52 years old at the time, only fueled this narrative. Critics argue that Paul avoids real challenges, and even Joe Rogan commented that he was relieved Tyson didn't get seriously hurt during their match. However, Paul's ability to generate massive paydays from these fights cannot be ignored.
Big fight, wasn't that amazing?
Yeah. It's amazing they got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I'd heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money, and I'm happy that he didn't get hurt. That was my fear, that it was going to be a real fight and he was going to get hurt.
You've known him for a long time. I've known him for a long time.
I love that dude.
Me too.
And he was a larger than life figure in my childhood.
Truly, me
when I
too.
was a kid, when he was the champ, it was like people don't understand what a champ he was. Like he wasn't just the heavyweight champion of the world. He was an executioner. Like every fight was just a matter
I don't
of how
remember
long was it going to
which
last.
fight it was that I went to go see a couple of fights, and I actually went to go see Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and that's when I met Tyson in the green room, and I met at the same time Muhammad Ali in the green room.
Oh wow,
that was a moment.
Wow.
As a boxing fan,
That's
that was
a
a
heavy
real moment. But I remember, and I don't know who it was, and I think it was a 90-second fight, and I went to go see this fight, and Tyson was fighting, and this guy was doing this stuff and he had this, he had built himself into confidence. And Mike came out afterwards. He was the first one, obviously. And Mike came out afterwards, and I watched his face. I didn't watch Mike. You would normally watch Mike because he's so charismatic.
Former MMA fighter Rampage Jackson has also criticized Jake Paul for avoiding real threats in the ring. Jackson stated that he wouldn't consider fighting Paul unless he himself was too old, implying that Paul only targets aging or less dangerous opponents. This has been a recurring complaint about Paul's boxing career, with many questioning whether he is truly testing himself against legitimate competition.
Jake Paul. No, but I'm never going to call out Jake Paul again because I saw Butterbean call him out and they looked pathetic. So I'm never going to call out Jake Paul. But I've called out Jake Paul and stuff like that. Everybody calling out Jake Paul. And Jake Paul. I'm not calling out Jake Paul. He won't fight me for another 10 years until I'm too old to get in there. I'm not. Everybody know that's a money fight and stuff like that. But fuck, I don't give a fuck about him.
Just overall, your thoughts on his opponent selection these last few fights?
He's smart. He's smart.
Not only has Jake Paul set his sights on Anthony Joshua, but he has also claimed that he could defeat Canelo Alvarez. Many boxing fans find this claim laughable, as Canelo is one of the most skilled and experienced boxers in the world. However, Paul remains unfazed by the criticism, continuing to exude confidence in his ability to take on top-tier fighters.
Who's the person that if you fight, you're like, I can't believe I'm in the ring with this person, and let's fucking go?
I think Canelo. We're the two biggest names in the sport and two biggest pay-per-view draws in the sport. I think it would just shut the internet down, and I know I can win. So
Jake Paul has defended his decision to schedule a fight with Anthony Joshua for 2026, stating that he needs more time to gain experience and increase his weight. However, Eddie Hearn has dismissed this reasoning, insisting that if Paul is truly serious, he should fight this year instead of waiting. In response, Paul has accused Hearn of being two-faced, claiming that he acts friendly in public but is entirely different behind the scenes. Paul has had a complicated relationship with boxing promoters, and this feud is just another example of his outspoken nature.
And of course, Eddie Hearn is already preparing his excuse.
Dude, he's preparing it.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's a weasel. He's a snake. Snake guy right there.
What do you mean he's a weasel?
Man, I don't even know where to begin with him, but he's very two-faced. You know, I think off camera, he's like on your side, like, man, I love what you're doing actually, and like, I really respect it, and blah, 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 and you're gonna take this a long way. And then the cameras come on, and he's like, you're not that good, da, 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 saying all
So he's
this
selling,
stuff. But
he's
it's like
selling.
a backhand, it's like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
Or a backhanded diss, like, the way he words it and shit, he's like, oh, you're average. Well, average isn't that bad. Well, Eddie, what if I called your wife average? You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Despite the controversies surrounding him, Jake Paul has found success as a boxing promoter. He has brought significant attention to the sport and created opportunities for other fighters. His marketing skills and ability to generate hype have made him one of the most talked about figures in boxing today. Meanwhile, Paul has also expressed interest in fighting Gervonta "Tank" Davis, though Davis has dismissed the idea, mocking Paul and referring to him as a clown.
Would you look at it as a joke if your team was like, yo, we want you to fight Jake Paul? Would you be like, come on, man?
I laugh at him. Like, you want me to fight him?
You think it'll ever come to the point where you're going to mix into, I mean, you're obviously doing the real shit, but will it ever mix into the point where the money's big enough?
Yeah,
would you ever do a fight
like that? I feel as though in my career I can't do that right now.
Although Gervonta Davis initially dismissed Jake Paul, recent reports suggest that he may now be interested in a potential fight. This could be another reason why Paul is delaying his bout with Anthony Joshua. He may want to face Davis first. If this fight materializes, it would be yet another major event in Paul's unconventional boxing career.
Who were you going to call out? What was the plan originally?
I think he was here. He came in my locker room.
Shakur Stevenson?
He wasn't in my locker room. Next question.
Floyd Mayweather has commented on Jake Paul's boxing career, acknowledging that while Paul is great at making money, his focus is more on entertainment than genuine competition. While Mayweather recognizes Paul's financial success, he does not consider him to be an elite-level boxer.
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money, and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Champ, we appreciate your time.
Yeah.
No, we got to give, Nick, put the camera on PT. Yo, PT, man, we appreciate you. Thanks, P, for making this happen. P and Rilla, we appreciate the money team all the time, man. We got, so one time before we go, Floyd, because I'm coming over to the palace. What's in the ceiling? So the fans know what's in the ceiling?
Oh, Chihuly?
Chihuly. Yo, Floyd, thank you so much. We appreciate you, champ. We coming over to the palace soon, man.
All right, let's do it.
Got you, man.
Jake Paul has even gone so far as to challenge Floyd Mayweather to a fight. However, Mayweather has stated that he would only fight Paul under proper boxing conditions. He made it clear that making money does not automatically translate to being a top-level fighter.
Paul can fight. Is he someone you're interested in, or no?
Well, if you go back, you got to do your homework. Look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it.
Is he? And Floyd, there are many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever. Period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents, or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's going to continue to look good and shine.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest in combat sports news.